All right. Welcome back to Chat and Chow. Oh, we got to change Jason over here. I got to stop that. This is Chat and Chow. We're back. The Manufacturing Alliance Chat and Chow Lunch Edition. I'm Tony Demakis, as always, your host and your friend. And I just wanted to show a quick video of some of the stuff that we do before we actually get into our conversation. So I'm wicked excited to have my friend Hillary back today. We haven't been able to talk in a little while. We've both been really, really busy, which is a good problem, I guess, right?
Yes,
Especially nowadays, it's a good problem to be that busy. So, how are you, bestie?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Did you have
Sometimes
a
it's.
good Fourth of July weekend?
We did have a good Fourth of July weekend. It was busy, but it was good busy.
Good.
So, and you?
Yeah, I had a one of my girlfriends. We were supposed to be in Austin for her bachelorette, and we ended up having a pool party at her parents' house. So we had a daytime pool party, and it was a lot of fun. And she's having a little mini wedding next week, so it was nice.
That seems to be the thing. The mini wedding. The mini wedding is now in.
It's in. It's in. It lets you focus on what's important.
That's right. That's right. Um, and you have a mini wedding coming up.
Yes, we're having a mini wedding in just over a month. So um, just going to be family. And so, yeah, it's nice. Then we'll have a big party next year when you don't have, hopefully, when we don't have to worry about everybody's safety and opinions and things like that.
Totally.
Hopefully.
Totally. It's got to be over by then, but we don't want to get that talking about all the possible badness would defeat the purpose of our
That's
show,
not what
right?
yes, exactly. That's not what we're here to talk
We
about
don't want to
today.
do that today. We want to talk about positivity and good things and happy things and optimism. I saw
Mm-hmm.
a thing the other day that said that it's not about being positive, it's about being optimistic, because positive could just be like fake. You're just
Yep.
trying to be positive all the time instead of focusing on optimism and trying to find those silver linings. So yeah, I am very proud of you because you actually even put together a list of things that we should talk about today.
I did. I helped you out. We got
You
to work
did.
together on
You
this.
did. You are the best.
And I think since we just entered the second half of the year, the third quarter,
Yep.
holy moly, where did the time go?
Right? I feel like we got ripped off a whole 4 months and everything.
Yeah. And I think like we've spent so much time and you have had so many discussions on this about like COVID and 2020 so far. So I was like, maybe we should break that and start talking about what does the rest of 2020 look like?
I agree. I agree. And how do we get there? How do we get to the rest of 2020?
Yes. Yeah.
So what does that look like for Westminster? We'll start with that.
Yeah, so I would say we're really switching gears, getting ready for NPE.
Yep.
So we've taken, in terms of marketing and sales, we've kind of switched gears to say, okay, what are we doing this year? And we're just really creating a lot of ideas of what we want to bring to the market next year. And so that's been really fun. There's been a ton of improvement. So we've brought a handful of people onto the team, and we're really focusing on being strategic for the second half of the year. So,
Okay.
what are the things? I think I brought it up once. What are the things in your junk drawer? What are the things that you haven't been addressing, but you need to?
Yep.
And making sure that we use this year to focus on that. And so some of those things are kind of looking at our academy system and are there ways that we could improve it? I
Yep.
think we've been using it the same way for a while, but how can we make it better? Another thing is our communication of our electronic work schedule. So we kind of found some gaps in that through COVID. And so now we're kind of putting a lot of eggs in our basket to figure out how do we make that a tool that's utilized and optimized. So I would say focusing on improvements. And then I am just trying to find ways to get my customers to have a drink with me virtually because we need it. Like, it needs to happen.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to me right now because I was in Michigan last week, I think. And we were at a couple different customers' facilities. We were at Classic in Michigan. I went and
Yep.
saw Gordon at Model Die. I saw Tyler and his team at Legacy. Went over and saw the guys at Exco,
Hmm.
and they're actually demoing one of our systems, which is great. All that to be said, like Michigan is very comfortable right now. You know, Illinois
Yeah.
is very comfortable right now. Um, our sales guy Mike was out in Utah, dropping off a laser engraver, not comfortable, like
Right.
super masked. Everything is what it is. So you know, trying to get customers to jump on for a Zoom drink or whatever it is,
Hmm.
it's a good idea. But are people tired of Zoom? We'll see. We'll see how many people watch us today and what that looks
Yes.
like. Um, but I think what you're saying is true. Like, how are we taking, now is the time to see, like, how are we taking those things that we quote unquote learned or experienced to get better? And how are we going to use that for the rest of 2020 and beyond?
Yep.
I heard a good one yesterday that said, don't just go through it, but grow through it. I was like, huh, how did these people come up with this stuff? It's so good.
Yes. I think that was like for us, there was definitely a period where you felt like we just have to get through this.
Yeah.
There was a stage of that. But then as soon as we got through that, we realized we haven't had a break. We've been so focused on growing and what's next and what's the future. And Westminster Tools decided to take this year to just focus on the basics and really build up that foundation to help us get to the next level in
Yep.
2020. So, like, it doesn't have to look like more sales or a bigger team. I mean, in this case, this year we are doing, really well, but it doesn't have to be about that. It can be just about what can be better here to set us up so that next year we can crush the goals that we have in mind.
Yeah. I mean, even sports teams do that, right? They have a rebuilding phase,
Yep.
a rebuilding year where you know things maybe didn't go as well as they could have. So you bring in some new ideas, you bring in some new talent, and you grow for the next couple of years championships and build that dynasty instead of a
Yes.
one-hit wonder.
Yeah. Patriots might be having a rebuild year. I don't know.
We'll see. We got Scott Peters is joining us on Facebook, and Larry Patton is joining us on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, say hello. Nobody's writing to us on YouTube, but you know, if you're there, say hi. We like to see you.
Yeah.
And I think that you know what we were saying is, you know, building for that end of 2020. I think we were fortunate enough to do a lot of the right things throughout, you know, March, April, May, June, and it hasn't paid off yet. And I think it would be very easy to be discouraged with that.
Yep.
But I think we can get through that. Angelo Magrone is on YouTube. I don't know you, Angelo. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Jason Sparks is on from Concept in Michigan. Welcome to the show, guys. If there's anything that you want us to talk about, let us know. So Hill, I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's not on your list of things, but it's
That's
something
okay.
it's something that I've been kind of struggling with, and I just want to throw it out there.
Okay.
So we have some customers, I mean, everybody does, I'm assuming, right? That are not necessarily interested in having the partnership relationship, that
Okay.
that you're just a customer or you're just a vendor.
Yep.
They don't care if you're profitable. They don't care if you make money on the job. This is how it seems, right?
Yep.
They're interested in their bottom line and getting through um, what they need.
Hmm.
How do you handle that?
So I think it's a double-edged sword. So I think, I can relate it to Westminster Tool.
Yeah.
We sell, what we consider high quality custom injection mold systems. And we don't just build the tool, we also do a dimensional risk analysis on the plastic capability. We do a mold flow simulation. We validate the tools in-house. So we're doing a lot more than just building a tool, and we really try to embrace our customers' challenge in plastic, not just what the steel looks like. So obviously with that comes a higher price tag.
Yeah.
So when working with customers who don't align with that, there's two reasons that would cause it. The first is that they don't need what you provide, which would mean that they really could go to a mom and pop shop that, you give them the part print, give them the shrink value, they cut steel to those dimensions, hand it over to you. And there could be a lot of back and forth on the back end. Or sometimes the part is so simple that it doesn't need any additional resources.
Sure.
Okay, that's one. The other is that you failed or we failed to explain our value and help the customer understand what they're getting. So a lot of times our customers will be comparing us and it's not apples to apples. It's apples to pineapples sometimes,
Right.
or, avocados. It's just not, they're not even alike. And so, that's why when we hear that, we'll say, well, let us show you line item by line item how we quoted this. And sometimes it's because they don't see how difficult it is, or they don't see the risk that we see. And we take for granted that people understand what we understand. So usually it's either that you're never going to be able to satisfy their needs because their triangle of, I think you guys have talked about this before, quality, timing, and budget.
Yeah.
If budget is at the top and there's nothing you can do about it, then you're probably never going to align. But if quality and timing are balanced, or, budget is at the bottom or off-centered, then I think you have a better chance of having that conversation and succeeding in demonstrating the value.
Yeah. It's just it's a pickle right now.
Mm-hmm.
But, because we're having a lot of internal conversations about how to handle that and how we want to handle that and what to do going forward. I'm just being, transparent. I don't want to share all my dirty laundry, but I'm assuming that other people have that same thing, especially when work is slow, right? Like when you have a time where, you're quoting a ton of things and nothing's coming in, right? And project comes in and you look at it and you're like, we might lose money on this. Do we do it to keep people busy? Do we not do it because it sets a value that is less than what we are as a company? Or do we just like pay everybody to do nothing while they're here?
No.
Because what is that answer?
Yeah, I think it's a balance. So here's the deal. When you get into a situation where you don't have work for your people, you have to take on work because it's better to not make money on the job, but have some sort of revenue stream to pay the salaries.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that's a different situation. But I have found that a lot of times it's a deeper conversation than just, we need it lower price. And it has to be a conversation about, well, what is the lower price? Why do you need it there? So, if you and I are doing a job together and I tell you, hey, I have budgeted $10,000 for polishing. Right. And you say, it's okay. It's a two-way street, right? Okay. I was thinking 20,000, but let me see what I can do. Could you, and then you specifically say, maybe there's a tolerance. Can we open up that tolerance to that's how you have to work through it. And then you see where the value is. Yes. But if you just keep, the other thing is if you just throw a price over, what can somebody judge you on other than price? Right. If you don't ask them, hey, what's important to you? If somebody says, I need this by tomorrow, and you're the only person who can get it to them by tomorrow, you've got leverage to discuss.
That's true.
But if you just say, here's the price, and then that person goes, oh, well, this person gave it to me, they don't know what they're getting different between you and the other person. Yeah.
And we did that specifically with Larry Patton from Dramco. And Larry, if you're still there, love your input. He sent over a project and we quoted it. And he was like, dude, I have a heart attack. Like, you can't do that to me. It was more than he thought it should be. And based on so then we called Larry and we said, okay, what's the goal of the project? What are you looking for? What's the exact finish that you want? Maybe we're having a miscommunication on what an A2 is to us and an A2 is to you. Yep. And once we talked with Larry and walked through that a little bit, we both realized that we were talking in two totally different finishes. And we were able to requote it, and Larry was much happier. And I'm proud to say he is alive. Yes. He did not have a heart attack. And we're actually working on that job. So it all worked out very well, having that conversation with him.
And I think
And
that's what makes or breaks a partner, is you can have it. It's not a partner if all you just do is talk about price, and it's not a partnership.
right,
So if they're not willing to, there's only so much you can do.
right. I agree. Scott Peters agrees as well. And he says, those comparisons lead to a fruit salad. Price shoppers are usually the most difficult to win over. I have dealt with purchasers who bought molds by the pound. Huh. I don't know. Is that how molds are sold, by the pound?
Uh, we've had, I will say, like Westminster Tool, we have this is a really great story for us, because when we first came on, there was a lot of companies that we weren't winning business with, and they kept saying you're too expensive.
Yeah.
And when we started to dig into it, it wasn't that we were too expensive. They were comparing us to the wrong caliber of shops, because they didn't know how much we had added to our capabilities to make us comparable with shops. Then when we started comparing, we were actually right on, or even less expensive than some of our competitors.
Yeah.
And so it took us being willing to say, well, what puts us in that range, and then discussing and saying, well, we do that, and we do that, and we do that. And now we have some local customers that we've really wanted to, local molders that we've really wanted to work with, but they were constantly seeking the lowest price. And we held on to ourselves, and we said, hey, look, we can't make it for that. That's just not, this is the value we provide. And we have two of them who have recently come to us, didn't even quote anybody else, only quoted with us because they needed a solutions provider, somebody who was going to help them solve the problem. So
yeah. So you found that customer, that partnership relationship, they value what you bring to the table.
Yes. And they came to us for a project that requires, where the value actually is relevant.
Right. Yeah. I like it. It's just a thing that we're struggling with regularly. And, it all more so when we're slow. Right. So when you're busy, it's great. And, you can afford not to have to take every job that comes in.
Have you ever found that when you're slow, efficiencies drop because people have
Yes.
more time to hang out on a job, and
Yes.
they need to fill their day? Right. So like we've definitely seen that as well. And when you're busy, it's almost, I can be blown away by what our team can put through the shop sometimes. When we're busy,
Yes.
you're like, there is no way we're getting that through our shop. And then we hit deadlines, and you're just like, how?
Yeah.
And then you'll have something, and you'll be like, oh, that'll take like a day. And then 3 days later, you're like, huh?
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. And I think that's just natural, because they have the whole day to do it.
Right.
So,
and we've had to stress over and over again, like, listen, we'll find something else, or we'll pay you to do nothing. I mean, I don't like to do it, but we can't screw up the time on that job, because that has to be dead nuts accurate, because we're going to have to go back to that a year from now when that project needs to be redone, and know how long it actually took us to do, so that we can continue to give proper quotes, so that we can do the tracking in our paperwork, so that we know what's what and everything else. It can't be skewed because we were just slow, because we won't know that. We're going to forget that.
Yes. We rolled out the metrics to help with that. So everybody's tracking their on time and on budget. As a team, we're tracking it. As a company, we're tracking it. So that really helps us to keep your eye on the prize, more or less.
Angelo is asking us on YouTube, how do you guys handle customers or vendors that want to come visit? That might be different in Connecticut. I know here in Illinois, we're welcoming people in. We just had a larger company in Chicago come in and look at a robotic automated welding system for large stainless sheets and plates. And we had them in our laser showroom, and we did a full day demonstration with them. We are kind of going by the comfort level of the customers that we have. We know the comfort level that we have with the situation and the world at hand. We don't want to invite, people that are sick or have been around sick people or whatever that is, but we know that everybody's going to get through this at their own rate. So right now for us, If people want to come visit, we will allow them to come visit. If they want us to come visit, we will come visit, and we'll abide by the guidelines and the rules that they want us to stick to. I don't know what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so Connecticut is a bit tough because now we have the quarantine requirements from 16 states. So we just have to, we pretty much do a survey. We take everybody's temperature when they come in, and we are required to wear masks. So in July, we opened up our doors to visitors as long as they are willing to abide by the state guidelines, which are the same things we have to abide by. So wearing a mask, getting your temperature taken, and we just have to ask, have you been in any of these states or countries in the last 14 days? And so far, nobody has had an issue with it, mostly because most of our customers are from the Northeast, and everyone in the Northeast is abiding by the same rules. But we have not had a single COVID case in the company. So
you guys are doing something right.
Hopefully.
I think that's also a tricky thing, because people, I just said that you guys are doing something right, but it doesn't necessarily, nothing is guaranteed that it's going to come from work.
Yeah.
People have lives outside of work, so you can only do so much. I'm really proud of this fact. We had one person that was COVID positive when it first started, and nobody else was infected or didn't travel. So
that's what matters.
Yeah, which means to me that we did the right things to prevent any other spread or infection or issues. So, I can't control what anybody does outside of here. Sometimes I don't think I can control what they're doing inside of here.
Yeah, no, we kind of have all had the same, and we've all just been being respectful, and we're trying not to make rules. We're trying to say, this is, a combination of what the state is requiring, and this is what we're doing to feel comfortable, to make sure that we can all live our lives and not be worried about getting other people sick.
Yep. Same thing. Same situations. It's just it's an interesting thing. But Angelo, does that answer your question? What are you guys doing? Jason, are you allowing customers in for visits? Larry, I'm supposed to go out and see Larry one day this month. Him and I are not good at planning. Go figure. And so we kind of forgot what days we were talking about, and we got to redo it again. So there's that. I'm going back to our notes. What are our other topics for today? Things we've learned. Oh yeah, keeping your customers engaged. That's what we kind of talked about that. What do you do?
I think I'm finding right now that majority of customers heads are in whatever, they're not able to even look up at the future or the bigger picture, because they're so focused on what they need to get done today. Especially since we work with so many medical device manufacturers, so many of our customers are on COVID projects, and their heads are literally in COVID projects. And when you follow up on where those other things stand, they're like, sure, if the customer reaches out to me, but other than that, we're knee deep in COVID projects.
Right.
So I think that the key is just letting them know. We have some customers who have done incredible things with COVID that we've heard about in the news. So I'll be sending them, little bottles of whiskey or something to say, proud to be your partner. You guys are doing great things. And just letting them know that we're still here. We still exist.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think, one of the most important things is let people know that you're open, that you're there, that you're working, that you're ready to help in a non-salesy kind of a way, which is it's a difficult thing to balance.
Yes. Yep. And we do have a lot of quoting volume. So we are getting a lot of customers reaching out to us for quotes, but we haven't gotten to have as many of those strategic conversations as we usually get to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting thing for sure.
How about you guys?
How about us guys? How are we keeping people engaged? Oh, well, we're doing this. We're doing our
I was like,
chat and chow. We are trying to stay as relevant and busy on social media as humanly possible, and just continue to reinforce who Alliance is, and letting people know that we're there. Like I said, we had a push with our sales team to just call people and say, how are things going with you guys? If you need anything, we're here to help. But let's focus on health and making sure that
mm-hmm.
everybody's okay first. Like, that's not the first and foremost call. But at the same time, you still have to ask that question,
Yeah.
right? Because, everybody's lost sales or deals or whatever because they didn't know the climate of the customer or the prospect that they were going to talk to, and they didn't want to ask for the work
Mm-hmm.
because, for whatever reason, maybe it's seen as I don't know, rude that we're in a pandemic and I'm calling you asking you for work. But if you have work, you still need to get it done somewhere.
Yes.
Scott Peters says, yeah, just the general touching base email.
I think just letting them know you're thinking about them. I sent so many emails throughout COVID to customers just being like, hey, hope you're staying healthy and sane, because I think that was just as important. Hope everything's going well. Let me know if there's anything you need. Basically just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm touching base. I'm not ignoring you, and kind of just reminding them. I think it's just about keeping yourself front of mind so that when something does come up, you want to be the last person they've heard from.
Yes.
Out of their vendor selection.
Yes. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, what is your opinion on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and all those things? Throw us some information. I'm going to ask personally, are we posting too much? Am I annoying you? Are you bored with Alliance? Should we tone it back, or do you want more? I mean, I can give more. I can give less. I don't want to give less.
You don't want to.
No, I'm not going to give less. I'll give more. But let us know. What do you want to see? What kind of content do you want to see? Do you want more?
I think that's
more conversations like this? Do you want us to put some tips out there on how we do the things that we do? Is it more learning stuff that you want? What content is valuable to the people that are watching this?
Can I give my input?
Absolutely.
So I love things like what you just showed, the mold maintenance process, and just in general, cleaning and things like that. I think especially for a mold builder, I think that it's just awesome to see what that process is. But more importantly, I think for some of your customers too, not everybody gets to see what goes on there.
Right.
And then also, you guys have been doing some little clips from these videos, are just little snippets of like the conversation. I think those are really great because it's pulling out like the highlight of a conversation.
Right.
So, and both of those draw my attention.
Well, good to know. I'm going to ask, maybe does your dad give any time to social media, anything at all?
No.
And I ask because, like my father, he's one of the high age demographics that are still mold builders, still running companies, still the tool room managers that are making these decisions for where work is going.
However, I have a lot of customers who fall in the same age demographic, and I'm very impressed with the amount of interaction I have with them on things like LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I don't think it's across the board.
Yeah.
I think for him specifically, it's just overwhelming to add a new thing that he has to learn. It's so overwhelming, the whole concept of it.
Yeah.
And so he basically is like, yeah, you can create one, but you'll have to manage it. And it's like, well, no, that's not gonna, but I also don't know. I also am worried about the filter. You have to remember that like old tool makers don't have the best choice of words sometimes.
Yeah, that's you, Scott. No, yeah. Scott, just to go back, he was saying, don't be afraid to ask for the project. The project you don't ask for is the one you're 100% assured to lose. That's like Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. It's like sales 101. You win 100% of the chances you don't take.
You lose. You don't win
Lose.
them. Yeah.
What did I say? Win?
You said you win them. I was
Yeah. Every time
just
you
close
don't
it
take
down.
win.
Close it down. Don't ask for anything anymore.
Go home.
Yeah, I think that, you have to ask that stuff. And I know that was difficult for me when I got to know your dad and you, the whole family over there, right? Because then you go, I assume they know what we do. I don't need to ask. If they need something, they'll tell me. And then
Right.
it goes to the wayside. And, maybe that project that you're going between us and somebody else, right? They go, that other company calls you and says, we're really slow and we could use the work. And the only reason they got it is because they asked.
100%. And I also think, again, taking the time to talk, like,
Right.
what work do you have? What is the budget? I'm such a big believer of qualifying. If all you do is ask for the work, what are they have nothing to judge you on, nothing to evaluate. So the more that you know about the project, the more, I say this all the time to our team, it's, if we're just telling the customer, here's the cost to do it, why should they choose us? We're not delivering our value proposition is your challenge is unique solution. What is unique about here's your quote?
Right.
Nothing. And what's to say that what I pitch to them is even relevant if I don't ask the questions?
Yep. You don't know that that's what they need.
Exactly.
The same thing we had with Larry, what he was asking for and what we were going to deliver him was way different. And,
exactly.
And so, and we had a 5-minute conversation. It wasn't like it was this lengthy, bring in all the engineers, let's sit down and let's, draw it all up. It was just a simple conversation. What's the goal of your project and what are you looking for? Yeah.
You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to ask the right questions.
Yes. Look at you.
I don't know. I don't know any answers. I just ask a lot of questions.
That's a skill set in itself.
Yes.
I think we're doing okay so far. We're only at 12:04.
Yeah, this is much better. I think we almost got this down.
We do. A couple more weeks and we'll be okay with this.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We've got some new shows coming up. I don't have artwork for them yet, but Jason Sparks, who was on the show, or he popped on YouTube to say hello, he's going to be doing a show with us. And then where is my screen? And then, sorry, bear with me. Things aren't working. Chandler Slavin is also going to be on the show. She's at Dordan Manufacturing. And we're going to be talking about recycling and sustainability. She's an expert in that field, apparently, and she's done a lot of writing for different magazines and journals and different publications about all of those sustainability issues. So we're gonna do that as like we're talking to 5-year-olds or we're talking to like people well established. We're going to see how the conversation goes. But I'm excited for that because for a while, plastic was a bad word. It became, evil again. And then COVID happened and plastic is everybody's best friend because it's a safe material for things like this virus and being able to see people and talk and do all of those things. So I'm excited to talk to her. Honestly, that's my favorite thing about doing the show. It's great talking to you and seeing you every week when we do it, but it's opened the door for me to talk to people that I've never met before in my life. Like Chandler, we had a really good conversation the other day, just leading into how are we going to have this conversation that's going to be for everybody to see. And so it's been really cool. And I think that more and more people are open to this kind of discussion and conversation. So
I was just going to ask if it was, are people finding you or are you finding them? Because if Chandler's found you, then I would say that this initiative has been successful.
Yeah, no, I'm still reaching out to people. But I don't know if people are self-conscious about
Mm,
putting themselves out there, and sometimes they just need that push.
yep.
Like Chandler, for instance, like I was going through LinkedIn and just seeing who I wanted to talk with. I would look on my LinkedIn does that great thing where it says you may want to be connected with these people.
Yes. Yep.
And so I would look at that and say, okay, who on here do I think that I could have an engaging conversation with that would further both of our initiatives,
Yep.
and just push that boundary a little bit into comfortability. Like Lindsay Diamond from Metro Mold. When I first reached out to her, she was like, this is way beyond my comfort zone. I don't think I want to do this. And I was like, come on. It's just a conversation. You do this every day. The only difference is, 12 other people might see it. That's all. So
Today.
yeah. So it's fine. And I think that it's pushing people a little bit out of their comfort zone, and allowing, like the conversation we had today, how many people are having that same struggle? And
Oh
so if
yeah.
they can watch it and go, holy cow, I'm not alone. And just let your guard down. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm surprised to this day about how many people are still not comfortable getting on a camera.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to push face-to-face Zoom calls with customers and vendors and everyone. And it's just funny how some people are like, oh yeah, wait, you're having your video on? And we're like, yeah, if anything out of this, I realize we should be face-to-face, be more engaged. Then you can't be on your phone the whole time. You're engaged. We're watching each other. We can see each other's facial reactions.
Yeah.
So, and for Connecticut, at least, I mean, it's still pretty rigid here. So the more we can embrace those things, the easier this year is going to be.
Yeah. And even if I mean, it's dumb to say, but you go back and you watch Star Wars, and they were essentially Zooming, but they were doing it with
Yes.
holograms, and
Yeah.
they weren't just picking up their receiver and having a conversation. They were looking at each other when they were
Yeah.
talking. I think George Lucas was onto something.
I think people knew. It's just
Yeah.
better.
I agree. The only thing is you gotta make sure that you have clothes on. If you're working from home, you can't just do that in your underwear. I guess it depends on the relationship you have with your customer. I would advise not doing that just in your underwear. But you
You
got to
might stand
prepare a
up
little bit. You can't just pick up the phone. You have to prep a slight little bit.
a little, but yeah, I have no problem with it, obviously. So I'm just like, get on. You
Yeah,
can't stay at home in your underwear. You won't be as productive. Come on,
I
people. That's
agree.
work from home 101.
Take a shower, get
Take a
dressed.
shower, use your morning, have a coffee. You don't have to get dressed in like what you would wear to work, but at least don't wear your pajamas.
Yeah, I agree. Scott Peter says that he enjoyed our chat and chow. He says he was nervous about getting on camera and doing that, and wasn't sure what to expect and what we might talk about for an hour. And then we were on the video for almost 2 hours. And he says it was time well spent. I agree. I thought it was a lot of fun. Angelo says that pants should be optional. Just don't drop the camera and you're okay.
Did you not see that news reporter who was in his suit and he was like, yeah, I'm doing the news. And then they like zoomed out of the like shot a little bit and there he is in his underwear on TV live. It's terrible.
I didn't see that one, but I saw the one of the news reporter that got caught cheating on his wife because he was doing a call and he had the camera set up, and then some woman walked out of the bathroom.
I have not seen that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Come on.
There's
people.
also a video of like a girl that was on class and she took the laptop with her to the bathroom and she didn't turn her camera off. I mean, you definitely got to be careful with Zoom. Like set yourself up in a spot and don't move.
Yeah, I agree.
But still,
I think you got to be we had an issue here. It's stupid. We were up in the conference room and we were having lunch and we were talking about just stuff at work. And at one point I decided that I was going to clean the table because it's a glass table. So I sprayed down the table and I moved the phone. And when I moved the phone, I hit the intercom button and the phone cord stuck to the intercom button and it held down the intercom button. So we were carrying on our conversation and somebody came upstairs and they were like, "Hey, just so you know,
You're on the intercom.
the conversation is going through the whole shop." And I was like, and all I could think was, what did we just talk about?
What were we saying? Yeah.
How bad am I going to get ridiculed for this? But it wasn't bad. It was just
Good.
People commenting about how I was actually cleaning and doing something and how they were going to tell Kelly that I was actually cleaning something. Yeah.
That you're capable of cleaning.
Yeah.
Got it.
It could have ended much more horribly. I was grateful for the way that it went. So it was fine.
And that someone came and told you.
Yes. Only one person though. Like I would have thought my phone would be blowing up like, "Hey dude, shut it off." I think they were, I don't know.
Could have been waiting.
Yeah.
Get some dirt.
And because Durachrome is right next to us and we share an intercom system, it went into Durachrome also. So I guess it was two people.
Oh my gosh.
Jesse Garcia sent me a message too. And he was like, "Dude, just so you know, intercom's
You're
on."
on our intercom.
Oh
my goodness.
Yeah. So I learned.
Yeah.
You know what I learned? I'm not cleaning anymore.
I was just going to say, you're going to say you're not cleaning. That's hysterical.
Yeah. It is what it is. So what's the rest of your week? And then we'll get out of here.
Let's see. I have a dress try on for my wedding.
Awesome.
We've got some mold adjustments to make to a few molds we just wrapped up. A lot of onboarding. For anybody who has not heard, my sister joined the company.
Congratulations.
And so getting her onboarded. And we have another person starting next week. So getting prepped for that. And we have another person who started on our team and they're in the box currently. So lots of onboarding. And
can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So are you guys that busy or are you looking forward?
Looking for both. Mostly looking forward.
Yeah.
Most of these positions are being filled based on what we're strategically discussing that we want to set up for in 2021.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that. This is kind of like the stock market where, you know, it's low right now. So buy, right? Like there are plenty of people that have been let go from positions because their company was slow, which means that there should be people available that have some experience and some knowledge that you can bring on that can positively impact your team right away.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if any of it was, most of it was, we actually had like 3 people that we were hiring right before COVID. We ended up putting them off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then 2 people were just strategic decisions that we made based on the foundation we're trying to build this year.
That's good. Scott wants to know, how do you manage your onboarding process? I know that's a loaded question.
All right, let me summarize. So the first 2 weeks, they go through 40 hours of orientation. It's a lot of presentations, tours, getting to connect with certain people throughout the company. They're learning about like the basics, who the company is, our history, where things go, how do you punch your time, all the foundation of our culture. So they're learning about the academy system, continuous improvement, emotional intelligence. It's all of that like high level crammed into 2 weeks. Then we typically 9 times out of 10 put the individual into the box, which is our production area. Yep. Throw them in the box. It's the production area. So it's where we do our high performance component production. And the reason we do that is we have a really strong manager in there. We don't have much management throughout the company. So in this, they get constant oversight, leadership, direction, but it's also a chance for them to get exposed to the culture and a lot of manufacturing basics, because there's some machining in there, there's molding, there's quality. So they're really getting exposed to manufacturing in general.
Yeah.
And then from there, once they've proven what we call proficiency in self, which is proving that they can embrace our culture, that they are a good fit, that they found areas that they can improve on, that they're utilizing the tools we give them, they can pick a concentration, so we say, and that's where they get to kind of start developing a more targeted skill set.
There you go, Scott. That's how they do it.
That was a jam-packed answer. There's a lot more to that, but you can send me an email or give me a call if you have any other questions on it.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about Westminster. They're very transparent on how they do things well.
Come on in. Well, there's always room for improvement. We just found that out,
Totally.
But and we have had a need on the shop floor for more people, so we have had to speed up some people's onboarding, but we're learning every day how to make sure that we get people. We really try to focus on giving them the time to adapt to our culture. It is different. As my dad likes to say, it feels like kissing your sister. It's just uncomfortable. So we try to give them the time to focus only on that before we start adding to them, where we're like, here's a job you have to get done. We try to give them 1 to 3 months to just focus on how the heck does this weird company work?
And that's so crazy that you get, I mean, crazy awesome that you can do that you can put somebody through that kind of onboarding for 1 to 3 months at a time, where, you know, if we do an onboarding for 20 minutes, I'm pretty proud of things. And Scott wants to know if that's everyone or entry level. I already know the answer.
Yeah, we try to do everyone. It's our goal to do everyone. Right now, we're in a situation where we hired too many people at once. So we're kind of putting them through that box staggered. So some of them are having to start, the experienced people are starting to learn a skill and then going backwards into the box. But pretty much for everybody, they go through that.
And that's, again, to learn your culture, learn how things get done, learn the process of jobs and meetings and everything else, treating people the way that they should be treated and the whole 9 yards. Yeah,
we believe in hire slow, fire fast, and it's a two-way street. The person we bring on has to want to be here as much as we want them on the team. So I don't want to find that out in a year when we both invested into our relationship. I want to find that out sooner than later. So yes, the cost of not getting them to be a value-added individual immediately, but the benefit is that you know that they're here for the long term, and that you're dating before you get married. You're just making sure it's going to work.
Yep. I saw your interview with Christina, your video conversation with Christina.
With my big headphones, because our sound was terrible that day.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. I watched all the way through.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. She still hasn't called me to invite me on a mold making technology thing. It's because we're an advertiser. She won't do it.
Oh, it's all right. You get plenty of screen time on here with all of us.
I know. I just got to give her a hard time, and she'll never hear this anyway, so it's okay.
We recorded that a while ago. I thought it wasn't going out. I was like, wow, I must have answered terribly, because I just talk, and so when it finally came out, I was like, oh, but my dad got a message from someone that said it was so amazing to see your daughter involved and passionate about the industry. So he was
That's cool. That's very cool.
And I don't know who this person was, so it was really cool.
That's very cool. And it's awesome when you get those little nuggets of recognition, not that you do it for the recognition, right? But that just that it's working and it's having a positive impact. Yeah.
And somebody thought I had good insights. So you hope somebody listens and gets something out of it. So
because as much as your dad sees what you do on a daily basis, he doesn't know how much you're getting it, right? And you
Yeah.
know, if your dad is like my dad, I don't even have to say if he is. Um, he's always big picture,
Yeah.
and it's good when somebody from the outside stops him and goes, "You guys are doing a great job. Hillary's really got this." You know, it's
Yeah.
cool to see her
he
doing
said,
these
"Hey, when
other
are you moving to
things.
Florida?"
Nice.
So I was like, "Oh,
That's awesome.
so yeah,
I had one guy, we were talking on Facebook Messenger about laser welding machines. And, you know, when I reply from the Alliance account, I always put my name at the end so they know that it's not just some random person, that it's me attached to it.
yeah."
And so the guy called and he was like, "Wait, I'm putting it together. Is this Tony from all the videos?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh man, it's so good to talk to you." So it was like,
Oh, that's so awesome.
yeah, it was cool to have that little recognition. Not that I need the recognition, but that somebody saw it.
Oh no, just that somebody recognized you from it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It just makes me
That's
think,
awesome.
okay, we'll keep doing this another week. We'll keep
That's
doing
like
this another week.
when people see us and they'll be like, "Oh, you're the company from that Modern Machine Shop article."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yes, okay, wait, you read it." And they might not remember Westminster Tool, but they remember that crazy company that's doing things weird.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing about marketing. And see, we were doing good. We should have stopped earlier, but
We should have. We're
my
almost
other
done.
my other meeting got canceled. So I got time now. And that's sorry. That's the crazy thing about marketing. When somebody asks, does that work? Did that work? Does that ad work? Does that video work? You don't know, because nobody ever calls. Like there's not a running ticker that says, once you get to 1,000 views, one person is going to call you an order. You don't know. It
Mm-hmm.
could be after three people, one of those three people could call you and say, I saw this video and it was great. And that could be 3 years from now.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's a constant thing. And whether, and that's why I was asking that question about, are we overdoing it with marketing? But I feel like I just want people to know that we're available all the time to help in whatever way we can. And if that means I have to bombard them and just keep throwing stuff out there and throwing it out there, I'm going to do it because we can. And
There's so much around us. There's so much media for us to consume. So it's
yeah,
very unlikely that each post you put out will be consumed by all of the audience that you want.
right. So the hope is, if you're putting out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things, that one of them may be seen for a fraction of the time that the full length is.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to figure out marketing, just keep marketing, just keep doing it, just keep making videos, just keep making posts, put stuff on LinkedIn. And that's the thing, even if you think it's nothing important, it's just this silly little thing that we do as a company and nobody else is going to care. Put it out there. Somebody might care. They might be looking for that exact solution that they didn't know was in existence.
Here's the thing about marketing. You have nothing to lose as long as you maintain a brand and you don't jeopardize the brand that you want people to recognize you as.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose, but you have everything to gain.
Yep.
You have no idea who's going to see it. But
Yep.
if you don't post it, nobody will see it.
Yep. And you got to put yourself out there. You got to be willing to put yourself out there at all times. So that's all. This was good. This is like the couch today. This is like venting. I was saying, I mean, it was a good weekend, but it was a long weekend. It wasn't a stressful weekend. It was good. It was good. I did a Murph without the vest. That was
Good
the first
job.
time I did that. 37:28. That's my time. So I was talking to Charles about it, and I'm sore today.
I did not. I did yard work and worked on the house. That was my exercise.
See, I would rather do any other fitness than yard work. I hate yard work.
Yeah. I just, we're trying to have a summer investing in our home instead of going out because of the wedding and things and trying to, so Yeah, that was my workout for the weekend.
Well, good. All right. Are we doing this again next Monday? Are we back
Yeah.
on schedule?
Yes, we are.
All right. We're going to be back on
Great.
schedule.
Tell us topics that you want. What did we not talk about today that you want to hear?
Exactly.
What should Tony and I talk about? As long as it is positive, we literally don't care. So
Or a way for us to be optimistic, right? If there's some awful thing that we need to talk about, let's talk about it and let's find the silver lining. Let's find the optimism inside of that, because there's no guarantee that people are going to have positive things, but
I can get on board with that.
Yeah. Optimism.
Deal.
It's a whole other conversation.
Okay.
Having a positive mental attitude.
That we can talk about. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to lead us in a quick prayer and then we will call it a day.
Okay.
All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the day that you've made and everything that it will be. Help us to find the optimism in all the situations that we are in, because we know that you're in control, and everything we're going through is because you want us to go through it, and you want us to learn, and you want us to get better so that we can serve you and your kingdom and be a reflection of who you are on the people around us. So we thank you for the struggling times. We thank you for the difficult times. We thank you for the challenges in our life. We thank you for the ways that it will change us and build us to be better going forward. We know you're in control. We trust you and we love you. And we ask you that you keep us safe. And we ask for wisdom for our leadership, for our country, for our state, local, federal leaders, and that we would be doing the right things to move through this situation as healthfully and as well as we possibly can. We thank you. We love you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Hale. Have a wonderful week. And I'm sure we'll chat soon.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you once again for watching the Manufacturing Alliance Chat and Chow. I hope that you found some value out of this. I hope that you enjoyed hearing the conversation. I know we talked about a lot of big topics and good things, and it went a little bit long, but that's okay. And if it's too long, let us know, and we'll make sure to dial that back. We'd love for you to share this with people that you know that may find value in what we have to say and what we're talking about. We're just giving our opinion. So it's always fun when you can share with that and throw your own opinion in there. So on behalf of Hillary and the mold making industry and everyone at Alliance, I want to thank you for listening and watching, and just say take care and God bless.